Hello my thirsty friends, so we arrive at Chateau de Revelette and I've been welcomed by a friend. Let me introduce you, Kiki. Hello Kiki, you're cute. You just had lunch, maybe you need a glass of wine. Now we are welcomed by Peter Fischer, the owner. Hi Peter, nice to meet you. So today the plan is to visit the vineyards together. So in which area are we and what is special here?
I explain you when we go to the vineyards, but we are the most northern vineyard in Provence. We are in altitude. It's a very cool continental climate as compared to the Mediterranean climate you usually find in southern France, which makes surprisingly fresh wines as compared to many other wines in the south.
Okay, here we are in the vineyard opposite the Chateau.
Yes. You see in the south, you see in the middle of the clouds, the Montagne Saint-Victoire.
Okay.
A very well-known mountain in Provence, close to Aix-en-Provence. Our vineyards are in the shade of this big mountain range. We are here at 330 meters altitude, and the vineyard goes up to 400 meters. We do have right now 27 hectares in production. We are producing mainly red wine, quite a bit of white wine, and only about 25% of rosé. The vineyard's been cultivated organically ever since 1990. So it's not from today on. It's quite a long story of organic agriculture here. We are working biodynamically, and we apply the same philosophy in our cellar as well.
And as you mentioned, also on few cuvées, you work without any sulfites.
We do have some natural wines
yeah.
of a blend called Pure.
Yep.
Pure, which wants to say produced uniquely with raisins.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Nothing added.
Wines that you share with friends at very casual and good mood occasions. Easy to drink, not too high in alcohol, with lots of minerality and acidity and freshness. The main red wine grape we have is Grenache.
Oh, okay.
We do have quite a bit of Carignan. We do have Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cinsault, Counoise, which is an old Provence red wine grape. In white wine we do have some Chardonnay, which is fairly unusual. We do have quite a bit of Uni Blanc, Carignan Blanc, Rolle, Roussanne, Sauvignon Blanc, Grenache Gris.
Who came with the idea of planting Chardonnay in Provence?
I started my career in California. So when I was a 20-year-old kid in the beginning of my wine activity, I loved big body, new oak Chardonnay, type of wines I cannot drink today anymore.
Yeah, it's. I think everybody goes through this.
You start out with sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Chardonnay is still something important here, but now it's more like blended.
It's blended, but it's a fantastic grape. I always compare it with a sponge. It really absorbs all the ingredients of a terroir. So I think the beauty about Chardonnay, and you can see it in Burgundy wines, it's this capacity to express a given place.
You can see it's like 1 meter high. Meanwhile, usually it's more like 30 up to 50 centimeters.
As I said before, we are in a very cool climate area. So our soils are not like in Chateau, for example. Warm soils which are reflecting to the grapevines. We do have clay soils.
And it's clay soil, so clay soil are usually cooler.
So we try to get out of the humidity and out from the cold soil, and it's warmer 1 meter up. So as we do have a lot and very often spring frost, we can protect for 1 or 2 degrees. We have Chardonnay. That's the typical way I like to have my wines.
So this is Chardonnay grape?
The Chardonnay grapes.
Okay.
You see, we are about flowering is over. The fruit set is done, and already the grapes start to create their bunches. So this year in 2022, ripening will be very early. From bud break to this time, it only took about 6 weeks. It's about 3-4 weeks faster than we usually experience.
Wow.
It's an extremely dry year, so nature and the grape vines hurry up to make seeds. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So what you see, we do have 1 out of 2 rows with natural grassing. The weeds went up to almost 60-70 centimeters, and with the dryness now it's making hay, and we create a mulch in order to keep the humidity here. So during all the vineyard work with the tractors we can roll on here. We don't compress the soil, and we keep the other ones worked, and we let them repose for avoiding that the soil, that the water goes in and the soil stays loose. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to show you something which I never heard. In this bag here, you can see it's actually a human hair. The idea to set, you know, those bags all over the vineyards is actually to scare away from the pig, which as you saw welcome in at the chateau, but this one is fed, you know, by the family. But there's a lot of wild boar, and those ones they like grapes when they are getting juicy and sweet. So the smell of the human scare the pig, and they don't go in the vineyard. Okay, I was walking in a vineyard a little bit, and I found our friend here. You see this one? Okay, that's the famous bugs, you know, which are screaming like non-stop when the temperature are warmer. I mean, today it's a bit cooler, it's a bit of rain, so he's not singing, he's not calling for mating, so it's pretty quiet. It's pretty rare to actually to see. That's why I wanted to share with you. But you can see, you know, we are in a vineyard. I was walking around, and you can see it's full of life. It's a sign of a healthy vineyard. And this is what brings life, you know, and depth into those wines. Okay, we are still in the vineyards, having a tour with Peter. He was showing me a little bit, you know, another parcel which is more on the reddish side, with on that side some Syrah, and on the other side here some Cinsault. You can see the size of the vines are pretty strong, so they are like 60 years old vines. You can see the soil is a lot of clay and stony, which is pretty good for red. Peter was showing me the color of the soil. You can see it's very reddish, which is presence due to presence of iron, which also help the metabolism of the plants to build some very structured red wine. I mean, the most famous example is from Petrus, which is famous for his clay and iron called crasse de fer. So this is one of the parcel which go into his top of range red wine called Le Grand Rouge. Okay, we reach back to the chateau, and now I'm gonna have a tasting with Clara.
Hello.
Bonjour Clara. So Clara, English level is not that good, so we prefer to continue the interview in French, and you will get the subtitle. So tell us what have you prepared for us today?
Alors on va commencer par les blancs et les rosés.
D'accord.
Donc on a 3 cuvées différentes dans les vins. On a les gammes Chateau en blanc, rosé et rouge. C'est les seuls vins du domaine qu'on a. On a aussi Coteaux. Donc des vins dans le style un peu plus classique, mais vraiment pour être assez représentatif des Coteaux. Donc après les autres cuvées, ça va être les purs, donc des vins nature que mon père fait depuis 2001. Ici c'est le pur blanc qui a grande majorité avec de l'uni blanc et un peu de carignan blanc, et c'est surtout un blanc de macération. Il y a 40% de la cuve en macération. Et ensuite donc les grands vins, grand blanc et grand rouge par la suite, plus des vins de garde, des vins d'élevage, voilà, qui sont un peu plus complexes.
We are on the road now to Saint-Rémy de Provence. I left Chateau Revelette this morning early. Had a beautiful day again, very different experience. I was very touched, you know, by the welcoming of the family who invited me to stay in the property. I could set my tent there, and they invited me for dinner, so we could share a little bit, you know, about my journey, and a bit more about themselves. You know, we had dinner with the patriarch of the family, who is 100 years old, and the story is quite touching because Peter in the 90s was looking for to purchase an estate, and so he bought this one to the patriarch, and a few years later he got married with the daughter of the patriarch, and now that of course he's getting I mean retired obviously, he's now, you know, living his let's say the rest of his life at the estate, where he spent probably a longer period of life. So it was quite touching overall. Wines, I mean, were excellent so far. Probably my favorite, I would say, for the white and the red, Le Grand Blanc and Le Grand Rouge. Definitely wine which, if I would not be by bike, I would purchase and store in my cellar.